Chapter 15. Shifting the Schwerpunkt. Threats are everywhere. Everywhere around us are forces that could consume our planet. To survive, we must turn our foes against each other and hit one of them at a time. 27th of December 2033, 5:41 PM. Folder Dominion, Battle Helix. Mana signature, C53171. Physical location, Phobos. Luna led me back outside the fortress, where patches of scorched grassland interspersed with wasteland beneath the impossible noon-bright sky. It was hard to believe that just over 100 meters above me stood not open sky and a sun, but a ceiling above which lay another level of the helix. A very dangerous level. We walked in near silence for several minutes, the only sound Luna's armor clanking with each step. Her polearm draped over her shoulders, a promise of violence to the world. Remember, the prisoners on this floor are bait. All of them, Luna said eventually. She didn't make eye contact as she spoke, looking at the ground instead. Aspects of justice use prisoners to draw our forces into sadistic traps. We call them aspects of wrath, because justice taken to their extremes has nothing to do with justice at all. But the system overlay still names them justice. I nodded. How many prisoners are we talking about? Dozens, maybe dozens of dozens. We don't know. People disappear, and we seldom learn if they've been taken alive or dead. Luna's jaw tightened. But we know the survivors are usually kept on the upper floors. The aspects wouldn't take them otherwise. They'll seize someone one day, and we'll see them used as bait months later. We walked further across bismuth-stained marble, crossing a scorched field that life was struggling and failing to reclaim. The landscape was so devoid of life that crossing it felt like walking over a grave. I saw the child before Luna did. A boy, no more than 10 or 11, had been savagely impaled on a metal lance that rose from the ground like an obscene monument. His clothes were tattered, his skin pallid even at a distance. I thought he was dead, but his head moved slightly, tracking our approach with what little strength remained in his neck. My sons were both that age. Memories of their faces hit me like a physical blow. The rational part of my mind screamed a warning, but my rage drowned it out. No child should ever suffer. I ran. Elishia, wait! Trap! Luna called out behind me, but I was already sprinting across the cracked marble. The boy's eyes widened as I approached, and I allowed myself to hope my newfound power was enough to save him. My boot struck something invisible, and all the colours of the world inverted. White-hot lightning consumed everything. It entered my left leg and travelled upward through my torso, turning my muscles to jelly and sending screaming agony through every nerve in my body. The pain was so all-consuming I couldn't even scream. My body seized, locked rigid as power tore through me. A microsecond stretched into eternity as pain became everything. Only my large health pool saved my life. I crashed into the stone 15 metres back, gasping as every cell in my body burned. Lightning had torn through me with enough force to leave any ordinary human as a charred corpse. Fortunately, I was far from ordinary now. I forced my eyes open and checked my system notifications. Health, 22 of 221 HP. The numbers wavered in my vision, reality pitching and yawing like the aspirin in VR Solar Storm drills a lifetime ago. I'd taken about 200 damage in a single instant. That would have killed the woman I'd been just yesterday. The boy on the lance turned his head to watch me, and his gaze shifted from horror to awe after registering that I had survived. It came as a relief that no realm rupture had occurred. My desire to protect Yakov, Sarai, and Miriam was evidently sufficient to shield them, even if it meant I suffered the consequences of the strike instead. Ultinam vulnera mea serenta, I exhorted in Latin. A simple prayer for healing, and the universe responded slowly and feebly, as I'd seen before. Shimon's casual reference to choosing miracles and Luna's power-ups had convinced me that those who bound a folded realm could ordinarily select their own miracles, locked in by the first 3 wishes they spoke in Latin. As for why I was different, and why the system chose miracles for me, I had no idea. Once more, my status sheet indicated a farcical rank healing prayer, and while the electric stench of ozone remained, my muscle cramps eased and the purple spiderweb patterns under my skin slowly faded. I wouldn't say that I was feeling human again, but I was feeling more human, at least. When my medium-distance vision returned, Luna was gaping at me. My shocked ears couldn't hear her words, but I lip-read. I've never seen anyone survive a trap like that. Remember, those traps are bait. Don't let them exploit your good nature. I didn't need to be told twice. Luna's mouth continued to move, and I caught some of the words this time. Every time those traps get someone, it just encourages them to raid more. I shuddered. I'd messed up badly, and my wounds were a cheap price to pay for a mistake that should have killed me. There was something truly insidious about these traps, and any lingering concerns about the ethics of fighting angels evaporated. These celestials were at least as bad as the demons, and they were definitely stronger. As the prayer slowly worked to heal my nervous system and my still broken wrist, I briefly lost myself in thought. NASA and Space Force had merged around the turn of the decade, and afterwards all aspiring astronauts, including myself, were pushed through a military officer training program. It felt useless at the time. Bureaucratic theatre you endure because, well, bureaucrats like theatre. But I thought back to a single lecture given by Major Hardman, the oldest instructor on staff at Fort Worth. The Major tried retiring twice, but he could never cope with civilian life. He'd tell us the regimentation of military life was the only thing suppressing flashbacks from his bad days in Vietnam, so he kept teaching. Schwerpunkt, cadets, he had said, or Schwerpunkt Prinzip, means applying strength at the focal point where the enemy's defeat is most likely. Even in his 80s, he shifted cleanly from English into German military terminology. The Schwerpunkt principle was never designed for moral choices, but to guide officers in seizing opportunities, small and large alike. Hit the enemy hard with your main force when they aren't expecting it, and hit them so hard they can't focus on anything else. Hit them so hard, they break. It's an all-or-nothing approach, but children used as bait warranted an all-or-nothing response. I'd adapt Major Hardman's principle here. I had become quite powerful over the last days. I would become a one-woman army, and I'd hit these angels so hard, they never thought of using bait again. Decision made, I turned to Luna. I needed to see this place for myself, but having seen it, I'll fight with you. This can't be allowed to go on. Luna barely heard me, simply nodding in acknowledgement as her attention remained entirely on the child. She appeared to recognize him. Luna shouted to the boy, "Turra, we're here to help, and I can perform argent weaving. If you have the strength to pull yourself free, do it on my count, then press your hand hard against the wound. It's going to hurt a lot, but be brave, and I'll heal you enough to walk, and we'll soon have you home again." He grimaced, then did as Luna asked. The moment the spike slipped free, his legs gave out and he fell. Blood gushed from his wound, but the flow quickly staunched as Luna glowed with a soft, silvery light. Turra had lost quite a bit of blood, but the silvery gauze stopped the bleeding quickly enough that he'd be right with a week's rest. Or maybe less, given how powerful magic could be. The healing prayer I had uttered earlier was very slowly stitching me together, but unfortunately, Luna's silver-based healing only helped against piercing, cutting, and rending wounds, and she could do nothing for a complex shock. Part of me daydreamed, wondering if the angels and demons weaponized elemental magic to counter such healing. Raw determination drove Turra to lurch towards us. I caught him before he collapsed. He clung to my sleeve, shaking as silver wound dressings covered huge parts of his side. "I'm safe," Turra let slip through his mask of relief and wonder. "Thanks to both of you. They kept bringing me water and using me as bait and didn't feed me, and I've seen no one and..." The boy shivered as he processed his horror through rambling, each word spilling out faster than the last. Luna nodded, assuring him, "You'll be safe until we can get you back with your family. Let's get back to Ultima Vigilia." And Tara's voice wavered slightly. "Are there others like you coming to help? I don't think I was the only survivor taken when... "We'll have to rest up and heal first," I replied. "But I sure feel like making those angels pay. How does that sound to you?" The boy still shook with fear, but he managed a slight smile. I'd have spent more time talking to him, but Luna raised a hand, a gesture that demanded silence. Her eyes scanned in all directions. I was impressed that Turra shut up so completely. I'd seen how sharp Luna's eyes were, but for him to be this present to the moment after such a shock was impressive. I certainly knew how hard it was to get a 10-year-old to be quiet, even when they weren't in shock. I scanned what passed for the horizon as well, looking for signs of danger. In the quiet moment, I thought of all the wonders and terrors I'd seen in the dozen or so folded realms I'd visited. Anything could happen. Anything at all. Luna's gaze flicked downward, and I prepared myself. I tried to ask her what a miracle of omniscience revealed to her, but the threat made itself obvious before my first word. Ahead, an ominous figure hovered meters above a bismuth-coated facade. The system helpfully labeled the foe an aspect of justice via overlay, and the angel held its electrified lance in a wicked two-handed grip, eager for a fight. Luna's voice snapped me back to the present. Elishia, where there's one, there'll be more. They travel together. I nodded, watching each motion as a distant figure lunged toward us. It was itching for a fight. In threes, Luna continued, as Turra's fear overwhelmed him. The boy collapsed to the ground. Still at only 38 health, I drew my gun. I was going to need it.